Welcome to Live, life-inspired views for every day. My name is Chris Meyer, and I'm a curious soul. What would you have wanted to be if you had known that you had the capacity or were smart enough to become it? I have thought about that many times since asking a former pastor of mine why he hadn't become a college professor. He replied, I should have been, but at the time I didn't think I was that smart. Recently, a good friend of mine, who retired from teaching several years ago, has poured herself into her passion of making art. Here is what she wrote on her new website. When I was young, I dreamed of being an artist, but lacked the confidence in my skills to pursue that as a career. Instead, I engaged in my second love, which is teaching. After years of working in the education field, I am now retired and am able to satisfy my artistic hunger. Well, you can Google her art at www.carriagehouseglass.com, by the way. Me, I would have been an emergency room doctor, but I too lacked confidence in my intelligence, math, and science skills. What are you thinking about as you hear this? Did you step away from a dream because you lacked confidence, courage, or perceived yourself or abilities as lacking what was needed to become that dream? Søren Kierkegaard, the Danish philosopher, said, "We live forward, but we learn backwards." I know I've talked about this before and even quoted him, but so many good thoughts bear repeating. There are two ways to interpret how we use the word if. Sometimes we say, if only. Well, Alfred Adler, the founder of individual psychology, suggested in his technique, act as if, that if people are encouraged to begin acting as if they were already the person they would like to be, acting in that way, it is possible to bypass the resistance to the perceived risk they feel, giving the chance to restore the accepted versions of their lives into the possibility of their dream. It's the same concept as I described in a while back when I talked about the book by Richard Paul Evans, The Spyglass. In that story, an old man visits a crumbling castle in a kingdom that is dying from the inside. No spirit and therefore no crops, no laughter, not enough food, no music. He gives the king a spyglass, and when the king looks inside it, he sees a prosperous kingdom that is everything his kingdom isn't. He thinks the old man is tricking him with magic to taunt him by showing him the prosperous kingdom over the mountain. But the old man asks him to look again through the spyglass, and it is then that he sees it is his very own kingdom through the lens of success, positivity, and productive living. The old man then says, "You have seen what might be. Now go and make it so." And by envisioning what might be, their faith in themselves grew to make it so. Benjamin Zander, the former conductor of the Boston Philharmonic Orchestra, once interviewed someone who told him, "You cannot live a full life under the shadow of bitterness." What might that sound like? Maybe, I was never given the chance. Why do we wait for it to be given to us when we have an interest or a passion? Life is to be grabbed and lived. Benjamin Zander and his wife Rosamond also wrote a wonderful book called The Art of Possibility. In it, they describe how we always measure ourselves or what we have done as a success or a failure. They suggest that when we instead look at what we do or want to do as a contribution, or seeing ourselves as a contribution, we then change our expectations of life. They say, unlike success and failure, contribution has no other side. It is not a comparison or something to be feared like, am I smart enough, talented enough? Instead, we can replace those kinds of questions with a wonderfully joyful question. How will I be a contribution today? When we look at what we wish we might have become but didn't because of our insecurities, lack of encouragement at a vulnerable time in life, lack of confidence or belief that we were not smart enough, we can ask ourselves, how can I still make my passion come alive? How can I become what I dreamed of becoming? I didn't become an emergency room doc, but volunteering on an ambulance service and now debriefing emergency responders after trauma has helped fulfill that great love of emergency medicine. My artist friend Karen may not live in an artist community in New Mexico, but with the help of her husband John, an old carriage house has been remodeled into an amazing studio, and she loses herself in the joy of doing the art she always knew was inside. We are contributions. This week on your bathroom mirror, write, I am a contribution. Then look at everything you do and see how it contributes to your life and to the lives of others. Join me next Monday for Live, Life-Inspired Views for Every Day. I'm Chris Meyer, and I'm a curious soul.